6 months with the Sony A7 III. After 20 years with the Nikon system, how does it pair up? Well, I'm very happy with the system. Pretty much everything is great. I'm not just saying that, Sony's not paying me to say that. The main things that I've found that have been really good, autofocus, game changer. I didn't think it was going to work, but it works. Like, I use it now predominantly 90% of the time, and when I can't see an eye or it's having a little bit of trouble getting the focus, I'm basically going back to single shot focus and single shot composing, but predominantly it's 90% on autofocus, and it does work. The tilt screen, game changer. I'm shooting a lot at the moment with the A7 Mark III with the tilty screen, and so I'm using it more like a Hasselblad, so I'm looking down on the screen and holding it at waist level, and it really, I don't know, when I finish a shoot, I don't feel as tired, I don't have to recompose all the time. I don't know, I really like it. The focus in general, the focus system is very advanced, far more advanced than Nikon and Canon, and it does take a while to get used to it, but now I'm feeling at home on the camera and I love it. It's amazing. The lenses, I was worried about the lenses, but I actually found that the f4 Sony lenses, I bought the 24 to 105 f4 and the 70 to 200 f4, and I was worried that I wasn't going for the absolute mecca, the G Masters 2.8 lenses. But I found these lenses are pin sharp at f4, which is more than I can say for my Nikon lenses, which I very rarely shot at 2.8 and very rarely shot at f4 because I didn't trust the focus or the sharpness. And another thing, the focus peaking, game changer for me. You know, I'm using a lot, majority of the screen now, not the viewfinder, and you can, when you're shooting things tight focus, I mean, you can actually see where you're focusing, and it's just, you know that you've got the photo. For those of you who are scared out there of changing your system, whether you're on Nikon or Canon, I wouldn't be worried. The system is great. I love it. It's definitely, I wouldn't trust it for, you'd need a week to get used to it. And if you wanted like a soft move into the gear, maybe you could buy yourself a A7 Mark III with the kit lens, which I believe is a 28 to 70, and you buy on Amazon for maybe $2,200. And if you don't like it, you can then just eBay it or put it on Craigslist or put it on Wallapop or whatever. And it's such a popular camera that you are going to sell that camera in 5 minutes. I mean, B&H has been out of stock for months. I don't think you can find it in Amazon is I think they're in stock at the moment, but it's a difficult camera to find, so you will sell it on if you don't like it, but you will like it, trust me. So now you've decided to change over to Sony, let's talk about selling your gear. I mean, I had a full Nikon kit, a D850, 24 to 70, 70 to 200, 150 to 600 Sigma, 50, 85, 35. I mean, I had pretty much everything you needed. I sold everything on Wallapop in Spain, which is not an easy market to sell your stuff in about 3 or 4 weeks. Yeah, it's a little bit of a pain, you know, you need to answer a lot of questions, talk to people on the internet, talk to people on the phone, but it's not difficult. And also, you know, if you've had your gear for 5 years, like I'd had my 24 to 70, I think, for 8 years, I paid $2,500, $400 US when it first came out. I ended up selling it for about $1,200. So it's a 50% loss, but you know, I used that lens for 5-6 years, so I got my value out of that lens, and I don't mind losing a little bit of money if I've used that lens for 5 years. So don't expect to get the same price you paid for your lens. So if you're happy to make a little bit of a loss, and as I said, if you're going from 2.8 lenses to f4 lenses, I wouldn't worry. The quality on the Sony glass is there, and also, you know, if you can feel the camera, if you ever go to a camera shop and have a look at it, the f4 lenses just feel nicer in the hand. Like, I don't know, the G Master 2.8s, it's too big. The camera's not weighted properly. It's center. All the weight's at the front, and it doesn't feel good in your hand. So, you know, I would not for a second be worried about f4 lenses. So let me talk a little bit more about the lenses. So I decided to go with the 24-105 and the 70-200, and I actually have the 85mm lens on the camera that's recording at the moment, the A6iii. It's the 85-1.8, which is an amazing lens. Look, the f4 lenses are great. They really are sharp wide open with the amazing autofocus system of the A7. I was a little bit worried, build quality. Are they going to be on par with Nikon and Canon? They feel like I'm using a Nikon or Canon lens. They are top quality lenses. At the moment, I think if you're entering the Sony market, and if you shoot at 2.8 a lot of the time, and you have the money, go for the G Masters. But I think a better idea would be to go for the f4s. You have a nice range here, and let's be honest, majority of the time we shoot at f4 and above. Well, I do anyway. But it's cost-wise, size, and just the feeling in your hand of the camera. The f4s feel better on the smaller body. Now, I would pair that, as I said, I bought the 85-1.8, amazing, very sharp lens, and I'm planning on getting a 35-1.8. Sony don't have that in the market at the moment. They will release that, I believe, in 2019. They need that in their lineup. And also the 50-1.8, it doesn't have a reliable autofocus system for video. So I'm not going to get that lens yet. It's very cheap, it's a €200 lens, but I'm not going to get that yet because it's a type of lens that I'll use on my gimbal a lot, I believe. So now, if you decide to change over to Sony, you're obviously thinking, what flash gear am I going to use? Well, you know, if you've been a photographer for a long time, it depends on what system you have. But I was using Profoto years ago. It's pretty expensive gear, but it was the best at the time. Now I've gone to Godox. I have a Godox 600, a 200, an AD200, which is an amazing flash. And I bought the 860, which is the hot shoe mounted Sony specific flash. Now look, they will work perfectly on the A7. It's not as nice using the electronic viewfinder with flash gear. It is a little bit different, but all the Godox gear works perfectly on the Sony gear. And to give you an example, this was €300-400. You guys know how much. The 600 is 600 US or 500 US, and the 860 I think is 100, and the trigger 50. I mean, if you're looking for flash gear, I would never be buying the hot shoe Sony flash, which is probably $500 US. It's just, for me, I don't use the TTL enough. I don't need it to work perfectly. I manually shoot all my flash gear. So as long as it triggers and the color temperature is good, I'm happy. So don't be worried about the flash gear. And also saying that, if you don't want to work in TTL, I had the AD200 and I had the AD600 that was for my Nikon gear. So all I did was buy the new trigger, which is €60. I have the old trigger for Nikon in the cupboard. So I only bought one extra flash and the trigger, so maybe €150. So really not that much when you consider a Nikon SB820 or whatever they're up to now is about $600. So don't be scared about the flash gear. It is not that expensive, and the Godox system is great. And for the conclusion, is it worth changing over to Sony in 2018 to the A7 Mark III? Look, it is. For me, I've really enjoyed the switch. I mean, it is the future. as we see, Canon and Nikon have just released their mirrorless cameras. They're okay. It does make me think that both cameras aren't accepting native Nikon or Canon lenses, so it is the future. I don't know if we're going to see a D6 or a D7 or a 1DX Mark III. I just don't know. I think it's all going to be going mirrorless in the next couple of years. To give you an example, the other day I was photographing a friend running, and if anyone's photographed running, I was doing close-up legs. I'll attach the photos in the video, and everything you've seen in the video has been shot on the Mark III in the last 6 months. So I was photographing my mate in a park, backlight, very close-up running legs shot, and you know, it was a difficult shot. I was on the ground. I used the tilt screen, so I didn't have to lie on the ground. I also used focus peaking, and I pre-focused, and I got him just to run past. And when he ran past, when I saw it go red, I just hit the button. And when you're in manual focus on the A7, it's 10 frames a second. So I got that photo in about 2 minutes, or maybe 5 minutes. Now I shot a similar photo, as you know, I'm a stock photographer, 2 years ago or 3 years ago on the D4S, and the photo took me an hour to get, and that's no lie. Like, it's lying on the ground, not being able to see the focus peaking is a very difficult shot. It just, like, for me, the gear, I mean, it's never the camera, it's always the photographer, but if we're working every day with this gear, it's whatever makes your life easier, and at the same time, like, whatever is better for your body. You know, like at the moment I'm using the live view, the tilt screen a lot. I'm shooting at waist level. I'm not putting my eye up against the viewfinder. I'm changing the way I'm shooting, and for me, I finish my shoot less tired. I don't have strained eyes. I don't have a sore back. I don't have a sore neck, and it feels like I've only shot for half the time. So, you know, the proof's in the pudding. If that's how I feel at the end of the shoot, it's a clear winner. So I'm very happy with the Sony. You know, if you guys have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. You know, this YouTube community is for us to be learning, and you know, I'm more than happy to answer anything. And just remember, keep shooting, and remember, it's not the camera, it's always the person, it's always the photographer. Enjoy, guys. See you soon. Thanks for watching.